what is your footprint now? Beyond, of course, Thailand, you fly everywhere.
Yeah, look, Thailand is a critical part of what we do. It's central to Thai's commercial strategy, obviously, as our home port. But we last year opened 2 new ports, Tehran in Iran and also Moscow at the end of last year. So Moscow in this part of the world takes us to 12 European ports, which is a considerable network. We obviously continue to be very, very strong in Thailand and Indochina, Southeast Asia. China is an important market for us, Japan also, and not to forget where I come from, which is Australia. So Thai has been very focused in the last 12 months in not only developing its business to and from Thailand, but also in terms of selling its network. So in Europe, for example, we are very proactively now selling Australia, Southeast Asia. We've always sold Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar and Indochina in general, but we are more focused on that also. And so, you know, our footprint globally is quite large. And with the addition of those 2 new ports, as I mentioned earlier, we continue to grow our business. The other thing we have done in Europe is we have launched for the first time ex-Germany a Frankfurt-Phuket non-stop service, because the market here has told us that they want direct access into Phuket. We have historically served Phuket with a direct operation from Copenhagen and also Stockholm on a seasonal basis. But now we have launched a Frankfurt service directly into Phuket, and that will remain in place for the entire year. The results from that service have been very, very encouraging. We have seen very, very high load factors since we launched that service, and we anticipate that those high load factors will continue well beyond this high season.
I was just thinking, typically the rule is the flag carrier, I'll call it that still, is the king for their outbound market. But if you're going to Thailand, you would more likely think to fly Thai than Lufthansa.
True. Thai as an airline is very closely identified with Thailand as a destination, and what we have in common are the high levels of service. Our brand is very strong, and all those attributes that exist in Thailand for both just broadly culturally or with hotels or other parts of the service industry, you would also find with Thai Airways. So we obviously leverage that connection as best we can. What becomes challenging is making sure that Thai is identified in Europe, for example, as a carrier that can take you to Australia. That is infinitely more challenging.
Yeah, I bet.
It's a very competitive market, but Thai will not be front of mind, typically, in most markets in Europe at this point, although we're trying to change that. As a carrier, that comes to mind immediately if you're wanting to fly to Australia. So yes, we leverage our strength with Thailand, and we are working considerably in terms of raising our profile when it comes to traffic to the rest of our network.
It must be exciting for Thai Airways to take delivery of the first of the 12
Correct.
Airbus A350-900.
Yes.
What are you going to do with it?
We currently have 2, and we made a decision to deploy those to Europe, so they are now operating to Rome and Milan. And so we replaced the 747 operation on Milan with an A350 and our 777 operation on Rome with an A350. And I'm pleased to say that the Italian market has responded incredibly well to the new product. So I think over the last few months we have proven that the A350 is a perfect aircraft for the European market. As a result, we will deploy an A350 on the second Frankfurt service come the 1st of May. And as we get more fleet units arriving, we will look at whether we can also deploy them on other European routes, because all indications are very positive from the Italian market, as I mentioned, that it's a perfect aircraft for future operations here.
Within Thailand and Southeast Asia, what is Thai Airways' continued response to the strength and growth of the low-cost carriers in that area?
Well, there are two ways to respond. We need to obviously differentiate ourselves from the low-cost carriers, and we obviously work very, very heavily with our brand and our reputation, and we leverage that and our level of service. We are very, very well established in Southeast Asia and Indochina historically, so we are well positioned. We, as I mentioned before, on all of those markets will continue to sell network routings beyond Bangkok. Low-cost carriers typically will sell point to point. One of the things that differentiates Thai is our ability to sell to Bangkok and beyond to the rest of our network. And the other thing we do is we work very closely with alliance partners, and in the case of a subsidiary Thai Smile. So we have relationships here in Europe with all of the Star Alliance carriers, and so we can interline and we can co-chair to access other markets up here, and in Southeast Asia we can, in our homeland there, use Thai Smile as a means of tapping into new markets. Thai Smile are operating to Penang, for example, in Malaysia. We shortly open Kota Kinabalu in Malaysia, so they provide us with new opportunities. So there are a few things that we use to differentiate ourselves from low-cost carriers.
Thank you, Bryan Banston. I'm curious to follow up what Bryan spoke about, some of the challenges in your market. In particular, that branding for destinations that Thai Airways is not as well known for. Of course, everybody thinks of Thailand. Bryan mentioned Australia as a challenge. How do you deal with that?
Yes.
Besides more marketing money, dollars.
We focus on the network anyway, because Australia is one of the important between Europe and Australia, both back and forth. And we try to make the connectivity between using Bangkok as a hub and make more the connectivity between two regions to make more traffic between from Europe to Australia and from Australia back to Europe.
I suppose for a certain segment of the market, final destination Australia, it's not a bad idea to break the trip up with a 3-4 day stopover in Bangkok.
Yes.
And now that you have all this new aircrafts and capacity, larger capacity, flying out of Germany, Italy, they're doing well, and it sounds like your job is cut out here.
Yes, we do quite well, especially on the first quarter, January to March. We have very good load factor, above 80%. We admit that this year it looks promising for our company.
How about the UK market?
UK market, we have quite capacity and very intense competition as well. But we try to use our strength as a non-stop flight between London and Bangkok, and extend to Phuket, to within domestic as well.
And that would apply to France and such other markets.
Yes.
I've noticed as a shopper online for airfares that, yeah, of course, you always want to try to get the non-stop to Bangkok. But if you play around with the itinerary a little bit and maybe add additional stops, you can get a better airfare on Thai, very competitive airfare on Thai for under those circumstances that are more competitive than those Middle Eastern carriers. Is that a real thing that some of those fares work out that way? Multiple stops. So say if I'm going Paris or London to Malaysia, as well as Bangkok, as well as maybe even Vietnam, that your fare would be as competitive as some of your Mid-East carriers.
But since we I think with our new fare structure, without fuel surcharge at the moment, we try to make a network become more competitive after the Thailand.
Right.
We believe our fare now is more competitive compared with our competitor from Middle East.
Well, best of luck with all this new service and capacity. Jesada, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.